Hi, everyone, and welcome to another live trading series. It is Saturday, January 21st. I don't have any trades for you right now, but I'm just going to be going over my 2022 options trading income, which is long overdue. Apologies for that. I've been pretty busy. Before we get into it, if you want to join my Discord server, it's $5 a month. We talk about options trading for the most part. I have about, how many people do I have? 85 members. It's slowly growing, like a few every week. I'll say we have 10 advanced traders, and then 75 would be intermediate or beginners. A bunch of people just like to ask questions and just follow along. I post my trades there more frequent than on YouTube because I don't have time to film everything on YouTube. Again, let me just make a second point. If you're new to options trading and you want to play around, check out optionsstrat.com. If you want to just have an idea or just visually see what's happening, you can go to build, go do a long put. If you want to play around with something that I've done, like a few weeks ago, I posted a chart of that I bought, let's say like $50,000 of SPY puts. You can put in the date you want, put in the ticker, and it'll show you graphically like your break-even point, your max loss. Just an example if you want to play around. I really like this tool. I'm more of a visual learner, so this does help. Let's get into it. For 2022, I made $112,580.94 on options trading. Now, in order to know if this is good or bad, if we compare it to what I made, let's say last year, where is December? Let me just try to take a snippet of my December income. Where is it? I lost it. There we go. So let me take a snippet of this, just so we have an idea. So last year I made $143,000. I wouldn't be able to do that again, just because like the IV, the trading, everything kind of hit. Everything did really well, except maybe buying shares over here. But I can go through just my 2021 income. I've been tracking all my trades for the past few years. As you can see, I have 2,000 lines of trades being broken down. So let's go by strategy. I lost $822 on strangles. I made $42,000 on covered calls. I kind of wrote a description of what they are. I made $2,000 on naked calls, $51,000 on credit spreads. That's been my bread and butter for the last 6 months. I lost $11,000 on iron condors. That was all in January. I lost $930 on puts, long puts. I made $21,000 on poor man's covered call. That's Apple, Nvidia, Tesla. And I made $9,000 on cash secured puts. So if we just take a look at what's changed, my cash secured puts from last year to this year dropped $30,000. Cash secured puts is pretty much predicting a bottom. If the stock goes down, you end up getting assigned shares or you close shares at a loss. I haven't been doing many of these anymore because the market's been constantly going down. So that's like a losing strategy. So I stopped. Obviously, since stocks were also going down, I'm not able to make as much on covered calls because I don't want to chase a stock downward. If, let's say, Apple went from 150 to 100, I don't want to start selling 110 or 115 calls because then Apple could come back up. Like, it's never straight down. And I don't want to end up losing my shares. We have naked calls here. I made a lot more last year on naked calls. Iron condors, I ended up losing. Where is it? $11,000 instead of making 12. But I can show you what happened, and we can go month by month. What happened here? $19,000 in December. This is like almost, 18% of the entire year. I tried to force this. I tried to force making at least $100,000. I made a lot of trades. End of November, I was under 100,000 and I was pretty upset if I didn't break 100. So I kind of forced some trades. It ended up working out, but this is an anomaly. I can't do this every month. I took some risks. I made $16,000 in credit spreads. This is only opened trades. It's not opened and closed because obviously if you sell in December, it'll end up going to January. So this is just cash that I've received. Now, those have been paying attention to all my videos. Notice something very large is missing, but I'm only doing this on selling options. I'm not doing really anything on buying options or any risky trades. This is something, I'm trying to show you something that I could recreate, not any gambling trades. So all my gambling trades aren't included on here. And then another point, I had, let's say $600,000 ending last year. I ended up taking out money to buy 2 properties. So I'm still at around $500,000 in 2023. So a year later, I take out money. My end goal for everything is just to have more properties. So every year, if I can, or every 2 years, I'll try to take out some properties. Let's take a look. January, did I do anything? So I stopped recording all my trades because I was pretty upset by this red right here. I lost $16,000 in 1 day, or maybe 3 days. Yeah, 3 days, I think, on Tesla Iron Condor. So I rolled down on, let's say, on the 21st for a loss. And then I ended up doing well. So I wanted to sell out. I wanted to close my options, but I accidentally doubled down and I bought instead of sold. So within 5-6 hours, I lost $16,000. I ended up doubling my position and having a big loss. I was pretty upset. So I reduced my trades a little bit. I did a lot of covered calls here. And then I stopped recording because I was pretty upset. I lost 16 grand, which is a huge amount. This is just a mistake. It's the first time I've ever accidentally done something. I was at work and you're not allowed to trade at work. So I just made the trade at like 10 a.m. and I closed it. I reopened it at 3:30 p.m. and I realized I had made a mistake. It's a long story. Not long story, boring story. So yeah, lost $11,000 on Iron Condor, and I think I stopped Iron Condors from that point on, just because everything started tanking after this. As you can see, since the bulk of my trades were from credit spreads in 2022, and I started off January with 0. In February, some $1,500 in credit spreads. Didn't make that much because I saw everything kind of going down. I was still I think I was waiting for the market to do something. So I was kind of just selling my covered calls, taking some risks on Roku. I'm glad that kind of closed out. Remember, look at this. I had Twitter covered calls. I wish I held on instead of letting my shares get called away, because I think Elon bought it at like 43 and I had them at 35 or 34. So very little, $6,000 here. As we continue to tank, let's take a look at what I was doing. Another $8,000, not that good. Losing money on Strangles because everything kept dropping. So a Strangle is pretty much predicting a range. It's like an Iron Condor, but it's like more risky on both sides. I was predicting a range, but everything was moving so volatile. Everything was dropping below my cash secured put. I ended up closing everything for a loss, and then I stopped doing Strangles. My cash secured puts were doing well for now. I tried to do some covered calls and credit spreads. I should have wrote more notes just to see what my thought process was like. So let's say for the first quarter of the year, I was down. I made $11,000 for the first 3 months. So then obviously that means in the last 9 months, I made $111,000, which is pretty good, making up for that big blunder. So if we take a look at April, $2,000. What happened? A lot of losses. Wow. Tesla Vertical, I had a loss. Look at that. Lost $1,800 on credit spreads, making a little bit on cash secured puts and covered calls. It's a bad start to the year. I guess I really picked it up in the second half of the year. I don't remember making this low. That is pretty weird to see. May, what was I doing? Naked call. I tried to make money on NVIDIA selling naked calls, predicting a top pretty much, and ended up losing a lot on this. Made $5,000 in May. I think here's where I stopped the cash secured puts, only $76. That's hilarious. I wonder what it was. AMD? Maybe? AMD Square cash secured puts. I ended up getting assigned on Square. And I rolled the wheel on it and ended up selling. I probably would have made more money if I just held on to the shares, but that's not a big deal anymore. What did we do here in June? $6,200. I made stopped the Strangles. No more Iron Condors, no naked calls. Wasn't really sure what to do. And I think July and August is when I made a lot. I ended up buying a lot of calls. I think I was trying to short the S&P 500 at some point. in July. I'm using the same tickers over and over again. So I did Square, Tesla, SPY, AMD. Like that's pretty much most of my trades. I did a lot of Tesla verticals. That's been doing pretty well for me until it split. And then the IV kind of went away and I stopped doing it. And I've been doing the Tesla poor man's covered call for 18 months at this point. I could probably do an update video on that a little later. So I ended up losing like cash loss, $1,300, but that's because I bought SPY puts here. So it is a little deceiving. This is cash loss because this is what I spent. This is not open and closed. I'm trying to give detail here, so hopefully you can follow along. So we had our long calls. It looks like I lost 14,000, but it's from just buying SPY puts. In August is when I shorted the market. I think I'm just probably a bad idea. What did I do here? AMC covered calls. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. So I tried to play AMC. I think these got called away. I wonder why I did this. I can't really recall. I don't really remember playing AMC. That's funny. So in August, made $31,000. That's because I closed out my SPY puts. And this is when I started doing really well on the Tesla credit spreads. So 6,200 here. And again, not much on my cash secured puts, which has been my cash secured puts, which has been my bread and butter for the past, 8 years. It's convenient to say that. It's easy to say that considering the market has been going up nonstop. So that's fine. AMC is still a bad idea. That's so funny. I was still doing this. Okay, AMC. And then I'm not good at SPY spreads. Oh, I tried to do a call spread. Here's what happened. I tried to do a 0-day to or 3-day to expiration SPY spread. I ended up losing $989. 10 lot buying to close at a loss. That's funny. I remember this. If I just held on, it would have been profitable, but I got scared and closed it, which is probably the safe thing to do. So in September, made $19,000 on mainly credit spread. This is when I started doing Netflix. So if you've been following along my just on my Discord server, I've been doing credit spreads like weekly and pretty much I think 90% successful on them, and they've been pretty good. You'll see the rest of this. The credit spreads have been killing it. Yeah, just Netflix. That's funny. Netflix call spread and Tesla call spread. Just because everything's been going down, so it's been pretty easy to predict. Except when Netflix beat earnings recently. They always beat earnings, so I probably could have predicted that. I was too busy with work to maintain my spreadsheet, which is what's happening right now in January. So again, look at this Netflix spreads. I've been killing it. So if we just randomly add up a bunch of the Netflix ones. So just what I see here, $2,200. Let's say $4,000 in a month. Oh, even more. Yeah, so let's say $4,000, $3,100 on credit spreads. Covered calls. This has been pretty straightforward, pretty easy on Nvidia, Apple. What else do I have? Oh, Air Canada. I have 2,000 Air Canada shares. I've been selling 20 strike covered calls on them, and I guess the money's been pretty good. I guess I think I've been making $500 a month on these. This is like consistent to what I think I did even recently. In October, $8,500. In November, $10,000. So my income's slowly starting to come back up there. I think I'm still doing a bunch of Netflix spreads. The Tesla spreads kind of stopped at this point, I believe, and it was more Netflix, I believe. Not too sure. Covered calls, 5,300. Credit spreads, 2,800. Okay, maybe not as good as I thought. $19,000 in December. I took some risks on some of these credit spreads. So, selling 15 lot for Netflix, which in hindsight might have been a bad idea, but you can see the Netflix spreads doing pretty well. End up closing some of these early. A lot of these are like 5-day to expiration. Do you see this? Yeah, so I think this goes with that. Buying to close at a gain, buying to close at a gain. I think it looks something like this if we were to look at this, just these two trades, like $1,500. So I guess I'm trying to aim for at least 50%. So this one would have been 50%. This one would have been 75. Why am I messing up my words when I'm talking? maybe not enough sleep, closing the spread at a loss. That's pretty painful. So if we look at just December, lost 1,400 on cash secured puts. I wonder what that's related to. SPXW. I was trying to do 0 day to expiration trades. If you know another YouTuber, Shahab's blog, he was just day trading, paper trading this SPX 0 day to expiration trade. I tried it out and ended up losing, so I stopped. But yeah, I lost $1,900 in a day, which is always fun to see. So my total income, $112,000. I'll probably be aiming for $100,000 every year. If I ever get up to $600,000 or $700,000 in my portfolio, I'll pull $200,000 out and just try to buy another property. And I know I'm a part-time realtor, so I have I don't know, maybe I'm just a bullish or biased towards property and real estate, but I really do I think that's the best way to build wealth over the long term. Use leverage, put 10% down, get the bank to give you 90%, and the leverage ends up doing pretty well. It is hard to find cash flow positive properties, but yeah, what can you do? If you want to know my trades for the next little while, I wonder if I could show you just my daily chart. This is what I've been kind of predicting, just the market to tank. So I bought SPY puts at $398. So I'm kind of hoping SPY to follow this chart. Again, it won't work perfectly if it comes back up to 420 or 430 even. I don't know if it would come back up here, but if it does get back up to 430, I would double down. I'll buy more puts. If you saw a video I released a few weeks ago, I bought $50,000 worth of SPY puts. I wish I could show you an update on those. Oh yeah, I think I have it here. So I posted an update on my Discord server. So a few days ago, they were, let's say on these 30 puts, I was up $10,000 US. And then in my TFSA, I was up $7,400 US. So that's $18,000 US in 5 days. I'm hoping to continue just to hold. I'm not sure when, maybe at least 20,000 US. If that hit, I would have sold and probably rebought back in. So hopefully that works out. That's my plan for the next year. I've been monitoring, tracking my poor man's covered call on Tesla. I might release a separate video on that. So I paid $33,000 for them, and I've been selling weekly covered calls to try to bring back my initial investment so I get the shares for free. But Tesla has been dropping a lot lately, so it kind of, I did roll my break even down here, but it got kind of confusing after they split. I don't know if I recorded it properly, but I might make a separate video on a full 18 months worth of Tesla poor man's covered calls. My first time doing it, and it worked out pretty well, so I think I'll continue. It's more capital efficient than buying shares. I think I'm going to end it here. Let me know if you have any questions, if you want to chat more about options or just follow along, or if you want to trade and you want other people's point of view. The good thing about the Discord server, it's not just me if I'm not able to respond to you right away because of time zone differences. Maybe I'm just busy at work. Again, I do have a full-time job along with options trading and YouTube. There's a lot of other people that can walk you through some of the trades. And if you want to pick their brain, if you want, you can play around. You can follow along with some of these spreads, with some of these trades that I've been doing. If you're interested, if you want to learn more about, let's say, a brokerage, I've been using Questrade, but I've been recently switching to Interactive Brokers. I'll leave a link somewhere. Let me see if I have Interactive Brokers. I'll leave a link to to their site if you want to check it out. I think I'm going to end it here because I'm rambling. Thanks for watching, and tune in to the next one.